Self-doubt affects nearly everyone at some point, but for high-achieving women, it can feel like a constant invisible barrier. In fact, one study showed that 75% of women executives experience imposter syndrome in the workplace. And imposter syndrome, by the way, is a phenomenon that's rooted in self-doubt and the belief that their success is undeserved. For many, the inner critic whispers that they're not smart enough, they're not skilled enough or capable enough, even when evidence clearly suggests otherwise. But here's the truth: self doubt is not a permanent state of being, and it does not define your abilities or your potential. Instead, it's a mental pattern that you can challenge and change. With the right tools and strategies, you can quiet that inner critic, build self confidence and self trust, and face challenges with self belief and resilience. Hey there, I'm Amy Shield. I'm a life coach who helps high achieving women build confidence, resilience, and find and live their purpose. And today I'm going to explore 5 powerful neuroscience-backed strategies to help you overcome self-doubt and build sustainable self-confidence. These approaches are designed not only to address the root causes of self-doubt, but also to empower you with practical techniques to create lasting change. So, what is self doubt exactly? I'm sure that, like me, you've probably experienced it many times in your life and you know that feeling well. But let's talk about, at a little bit more granular level, what self doubt is. At its core, self doubt is a lack of confidence in yourself or your abilities. It often shows up as hesitation or fear or a need for external validation. While self doubt might feel like a protective mechanism, it also can keep you stuck and prevent you from reaching your full potential. Yeah, self doubt is definitely a protective mechanism. And a lot of times it's a protective mechanism that our brain creates to keep us safe from what it perceives as risk and danger. Here's the thing about that protective mechanism, though. One of the things that it can protect you from is success. And we don't want that, right? In contrast to self doubt, let's talk about what self confidence is. Self confidence isn't about arrogance or having to know all the answers. It's about trusting yourself to navigate life's challenges and knowing that no matter what happens, you'll be okay in the end because you will make sure that you and anybody that you're responsible for will be okay in the end. Building self confidence is like strengthening any muscle in your body. It takes intentional effort, but the results are so worth it. The most important thing I teach my clients is that their thoughts are optional. Self doubt often feels like a fact, but it's really a cognitive emotional pattern. Self doubt is an emotion that's caused by a series of thoughts and beliefs in your brain that your brain has just learned to repeat. When you recognize that these thoughts aren't set in stone, you gain the power to challenge and change them. Self doubt, at the end of the day, is a suggestion from your brain, and you don't have to take every suggestion that your brain offers you to heart. I struggled with massive self doubt for much of my life. I doubted my skills, abilities, and my talents so much that I overworked, I overprepared, and I overstressed trying to outrun my self doubt. Once I learned that my thoughts and my patterns around self doubt were all optional, everything changed. I started doing the work to reframe my relationship with risk and failure, and the self doubt largely melted away. It was amazing. Okay, so let's talk about 5 neuroscience-based strategies to help you finally stop self-doubting and start building that awesome self-confidence. First, understand where self-doubt comes from. Self-doubt is often your brain's way of trying to keep you safe. It's part of your survival mechanism designed to protect you from the perceived risk of failure or rejection. But the situations that trigger self doubt today, such as speaking up in a meeting, for example, or pursuing a new opportunity, those rarely pose actual danger. By understanding that self doubt is a natural but often unnecessary response, you can begin to see it for what it is: your brain being overly cautious. So, one of my clients struggled with self doubt and fear of rejection around building relationships with potential referral partners. She was afraid the conversations would be awkward and that they would dislike her for reaching out and, quote unquote, bothering them. I helped her walk through what was going on in her mind and assess the true level of risk and danger, which at the end of the day really wasn't much. She was able to overcome that hurdle and start building valuable relationships that are still sustaining her business to this day. Next, confront the monster under the bed. Self doubt thrives on avoidance. It's often about avoiding negative emotions that you're afraid you'll experience if you take a particular action. Self doubt seeks to protect you from potentially experiencing those uncomfortable but temporary emotions, such as embarrassment or rejection, disappointment, or feeling inadequate. Those kinds of emotions can be kind of like a monster under the bed. One of the most effective ways to weaken self doubt is to confront it head on. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen in this situation? Then consider what you would do to navigate the situation and ensure you'd be okay. Often, the fear is much larger than the reality. By facing it directly, you take away its power. I gave my first keynote speech a few years ago, and I found myself feeling pretty terrified in the weeks leading up to it. I worried that I would do a terrible job, that people would judge me or dislike me, and that my talk wouldn't land the way that I wanted it to. I asked myself, what if I do a terrible job? What will I decide to make that mean about me, about my speaking skills and my potential? I asked myself, is it normal for speakers to sometimes do a terrible job? The answer to that, by the way, is yes. And I also asked myself, how can I take care of myself? How can I learn? How can I move forward from this situation, whether I do a great job or even if I do poorly? When I took the time to answer these questions from a compassionate, logical, and supportive perspective, the specter of fear shrunk down considerably, just because I was willing to confront it and explore it. Next, consider what else might be true. Self-doubt often keeps you focused on worst-case scenarios, but what if you flip the script? Ask yourself, what if this does work out? What if I actually do have what it takes? Even if things don't go perfectly, you can still learn, grow, and ensure that you're okay in the end. Choosing to focus on these possibilities opens the door to self-confidence. Another client of mine struggled with overthinking how her friends, family, and coworkers perceived her. I guided her through considering what else might be true, aside from her fear, which was rooted in self-doubt, that they were judging her and didn't think she was good enough. She was able to navigate and manage the self-doubt and become grounded in self-confidence. This led to more confidence in building relationships, and she stopped worrying as much about how people were perceiving her every action and her every word. And she was able to just be herself, show up more fully as herself, and build authentic relationships free from self-doubt. Next, decide how you want to think and feel instead. Building self-confidence starts with intention. Think about the situation where you're experiencing some self-doubt. What thoughts and feelings would help you to approach it with confidence? Perhaps it's reminding yourself of past successes or choosing to focus on growth rather than perfection. Decide what mindset will serve you and practice it until it becomes your default. Many years ago, I realized that self-doubt and self-criticism were holding me back. I felt totally stuck in life, stuck in my career. The problem was I didn't know what to do about it. I ended up finding a self-coaching program and started working with coaches one-on-one as well. And it was totally life-changing. Over that period of about 3 months, I built a strong foundation of self-confidence and I gained the tools to navigate self-doubt effectively. It's truly one of the best things I have ever done for myself. I want to talk about how coaching can shorten the growth curve. So you can absolutely overcome self-doubt on your own, but it usually takes more time and more trial and error, and that's where coaching comes in. In my Forged in Grace coaching program, I provide targeted support and guidance to help my clients navigate and overcome self-doubt. Together, we work on identifying the root causes of self-doubt, challenging and changing limiting beliefs, and building that awesome self-confidence that they've always wanted. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about creating lasting change. Self-doubt doesn't have to define your life. By viewing it as optional, understanding its origins, confronting your fears, considering growth-centered possibilities, and intentionally choosing confidence, you can create a profound shift in how you see yourself. And that shift will also result in a profound transformation in how you feel, how you perceive yourself, how you perceive your ability to fail forward and to grow and to become the version of yourself that you were created to be. If you're ready to take the next step and fast track your journey to lasting self-confidence, schedule a free 30-minute enrollment call with me to learn more about Forged in Grace. We'll explore how this program can help you overcome self-doubt and step boldly into the confident, empowered version of yourself you've always wanted to be. Thank you so much for checking out this video today. I'm Amy Shield, life coach for high achieving women. Head on over to amyshield.com for access to on-demand resources, free guides, and to learn more about coaching. Thank you so much, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.